Okay, it's day 4. I just got home from work, and actually I was in a really shitty mood until just a little bit ago. I cut the fucking piss out of myself while I was shaving, so my face is all red and stuff around here. Anyway, it was a real shitty day at work. I had to work about 4 times harder than I normally do. Had a bunch of new guys there. So I had to kind of make up for them being slow. We had shitty, crabby customers. For the most part, they were all right, but the shitty, crabby ones were the ones that got me in a shitty, crabby mood. By the time I got home, I was back in that frame of mind of, just go home and grab a beer and relax, and then I had to catch myself and say, no, you're not drinking. And again, I get that rush in my chest, that anxiety attack. But after, I realized I wasn't drinking, then it passed, But I'm actually doing pretty decent today. When I first woke up, it was horrible. I felt like I had the flu. My whole body was run down. I thought that it was going to be out of my system by now. I guess it takes anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks to get out of your system. But it was bad this morning. It was real run down. Felt like shit. I was positive that I had the flu. But once I got to work and I got moving around, yeah, I still felt shitty, but being there took my mind off of it, and it made my body, I don't know, it brought it more back to as close to normal as you could get. Because, I don't know, I was working, I was getting exercise in, and my body responded to it fairly well. At one point in the day, though, I did shit a moose, a whole moose. I didn't know that was a symptom of alcoholism, but evidently it is. Antlers, all the antlers with it. So if you are considering quitting alcohol and you don't want to shit a moose, you're in for a rough surprise. But that's just a symptom. I mean, it passes. Eventually, you start shitting things like rabbits and elves, but at the first it tears you up. I was actually talking with I work in the trucking industry, and so I was talking with one of my customers who was a trucker, who had also quit drinking, and we were talking about how you're an alcoholic, and he said that when he was in school, their definition of alcoholic was anyone who drinks more than me. And even though it's kind of a funny thing, or at least an amusing thing to say or think about, the truth is, there's a lot of alcoholics who really think that, well, I only drink 6 beers a night, or I only drink 4 beers a night, so I'm not an alcoholic, and that's just that's not true. The amount of alcohol means nothing. If you're drinking regularly and it becomes a ritual, and your body starts to depend on that, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a raging alcoholic who doesn't function. It just means you're a functioning alcoholic. That was something I never believed before, and the more I think about it now, the more I find it's true. I mean, I know a lot of people who say, no, I'm not an alcoholic, I only drink 3 times a week. And really, I mean, if you take that away from them, they start to go through this emotional distress. They start to get depressed. They're not going to be curled up in a corner in a fetal position, shaking and trying to get the spiders off by any means, but still, they're functioning alcoholics. So I just want to throw that out there because I thought it was kind of a funny thing to say. But then, like I said, the more you think about it, the more actually it's what a lot of people think. And to go with that, I had thought about this before, and I had actually made comments and thought it was kind of funny at the time. But now that I'm in the position that I'm in, it's not so funny. I guess it is, but all the places that I buy alcohol, which are the 2 that I usually did was Walmart, and there's a place called Lions Liquor here about 2 blocks from my house. And those people knew my birthday without me pulling out my license. These weren't friends or anything. These weren't acquaintances. These were just people who worked the counter. Actually knew my birthday, so they no longer had to card me anymore. So that was, at the time it didn't even embarrass me, but it does now. I mean, at the time I thought it was funny. I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. I don't ever have to pull out my license again. But when the people who work behind the counter know your fucking birthday because you buy so much beer there, there's a pretty good chance that you've got a problem. Now, I don't want to turn this whole video into a fucking Jeff Foxworthy thing where you know you're an alcoholic if, because fuck that guy. But still, that is a pretty goddamn good sign that there's a problem there. So anyway, I've made it through another day without drinking. And at the end of the day, I did want one, definitely. But once I got my mind set on, hey, you're not drinking anymore, have a glass of tea, have some water, go home and eat something, play some World of Warcraft, do something stupid. Once I got, past that initial shock of you're not going home to drink, I was fine again. I just have to worry about making sure I stick to the plan, making sure that that I have something to do when I get home and not let boredom get the best of me. Luckily, I've got somebody who lives here with me, and we can have some fun and dig off and get my mind off of it. And if anything, I can just beat the piss out of her for a little while, because if anything's going to occupy my time, it's going to be beating the shit out of my girlfriend. So when she comes back, she's at Walmart right now. I want to get off here before she gets back. I got to polish up my brass knuckles. And then also polish my real knuckles, and then just wail on her for at least an hour, and that should suppress some of the want and need of alcohol. So anyway, I'll make another video tomorrow after work. If I get on that schedule, I'll be putting up a video every night, sometime around 12:30 to 1 o'clock in the morning Central Time. So I will see you guys tomorrow night.